Hello, and welcome to Connecting Tucson with Jamie Overturf, broadcasting from the Tucson Business Channel, a division of Mark Bishop Media, situated in the Stewart Title corporate offices on Broadway in Tucson, Arizona. Connecting Tucson is all about connecting our community, local businesses, and organizations to help our community grow and thrive. Today, we're talking to Diana Charbonneau, the Development Director of Impact of Southern Arizona. Diana is a native of Tucson and received her BA in Sociology from the George Washington University in Washington, D.C. She is a community builder, and her passions include financial literacy for our youth, mentorship, and creating collaborations that make an impact on and in the community. She is currently married with an adventurous 2-year-old and 2 rescue pups that they love to travel with. Her hands are definitely busy. Thank you for joining us today on Connecting Tucson, Diana.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Well, I'm excited to get going and let our listeners know a little bit about Impact of Southern Arizona. It's one of my big passion points, and I love everything you do, so I'm super excited that you're on. But let's start off with letting our listeners know a little bit about you. Tell us about who you are, a little bit about yourself, and how you became the Development Director for Impact of Southern Arizona.
Sure. So I'm a native Tucsonan. I grew up here and I went to school in D.C. And when I came back, I just always found myself involved in community work. I lobbied on Capitol Hill, so I always wanted to give back. And I remember volunteering for Impact of Southern Arizona once for their golf tournament. And it was just one of those moments when you meet an organization that does incredible work, it just stays with you. Right. And so as paths would have it, I came across and came in and I originally was doing their fundraising and events, and I've since been able to evolve into doing all of our development. And I also am the president of the American Association of University Women for Gender Equity. And really just giving back to our community is a passion of mine, and working at Impact is the cherry on top because I get to do amazing work every single day.
Excellent. Now, you said one of your passions was actually financial literacy for the youth. Mm-hmm. Can you explain a little bit about what that actually is and what that entails?
Sure. So my mom is a single mom, and being the first person that went to college, my tuition was $53,000 a year. Our solution was always to put things on a credit card. And when I still remember coming home, I actually dated somebody who died in a car accident, and it wasn't until I started to look at the future as a much more definitive thing that I started to realize that we are not taught about finances, especially education and planning for the future, what retirement looks like, even just basic budgeting. So, and that ties a lot into what we do at Impact. You know, those basic budgeting skills and even work ethic, entrepreneurial skills that will be able to go forward with a student can just impact their life forever. And so I've been able to serve on the board for Junior Achievement that does incredible work in financial literacy in schools. So it's just something that needs to be done.
I could not agree with you more, 100%. I do believe that financial literacy, just financial in general, needs to be taught in some type of school level or some type of area where they know how to budget, a checkbook. They're not just looking on an app. They know, like, okay, I get X amount of dollars for this month. How am I going to make that last? They're not really taught that in school. And sometimes the parents have a hard time with it. Like you said, you put things on credit cards and you just kind of, that'll come back to another payment. I don't have to pay it all off. But yes, making sure that you are fitting within your means and knowing what to do. I 100% support that, and it's one of the major things that I liked about Impact of Southern Arizona. Tell us about Impact of Southern Arizona and the work that you do in the community.
Gosh, we do so much, but we are a social services nonprofit really working to move people forward. We reinvest over $2.5 million back into our community each year, and we recently updated our mission statement to really direct where we are headed into the future, which is to empower Southern Arizonans with the resources required to pursue a stabilized and enhanced quality of life. And that can mean different things for many people, and that's why we have it that way. Our key areas are food, clothing, youth and senior services, resources, and referrals. And although we are most well known for our food bank at Impact, we really have a clothing bank. We do youth services. We deliver clothes to seniors. And one of the big things I'd like to point out is we're one of the beneficiaries of the Golden Goose Thrift Shop. So because of them, we're able to allow 100% of donations to go straight to our programs. Out of the $3 million budget that we have for this year, only less than 3.5% is overhead. So we're able to keep it very lean and really do as much work as we possibly can. We have no plans on slowing down. We're expanding our food bank, and we just have so much going on to help others in our community.
So tell us a little bit about Golden Goose. Like why are you able to donate 100%? Not a lot of people know what that is. So can you tell us or elaborate on that?
Sure. So the Golden Goose Thrift Shop, not a lot of people know, we are one of the 2 beneficiaries of the Golden Goose. That was the original way it was set up. We were originally Catalina Community Resources over 20 years ago, and it was to support the nonprofit, to make sure that we had the backing to be able to do what we could in the community. And as we grew, as the area grew, and as Catalina grew into Oro Valley, into Tucson, and it just grew beyond what we could possibly imagine. The Golden Goose Thrift Shop, for anybody who's been there, has an amazing support system of Saddlebrook and the surrounding area. And because of them, we usually get, over $500,000 from them in a non-COVID year. And just a shout out, they are having their estate sale coming up. I believe it's on the 18th to the 20th, 9 to 2. So if you want to go check it out, the proceeds go to the 2 nonprofits, and it's able to support all of the work that we do.
Oh, that is phenomenal. So you mentioned 6 key areas of focus: food, clothing, youth and senior services, resources, and referrals. Can you maybe just do a quick touch on how you help in each of those areas? For food, we know you're very well renowned for your food bank, but, just like how you support them and what each of those are?
Yeah. So our food bank, like you mentioned, one of the big things we do out of our food bank people don't think about is nutrition education. It's very difficult to eat healthy on a low-income budget. It's easier to swing through a McDonald's than to go, say, shop at a Whole Foods for healthy food. So it's something that we're really working with families to teach them how to create meals with the food that they are provided. And also we partner with local community agencies, businesses to also supply more food than just your average food bank bag that you would normally get. So that's just one piece out of the food bank. Our clothing bank, imagine what it takes to clothe your family and not having that first basic. And that goes from children's clothes, adults' clothes, bathing suits, blankets, underwear, the whole thing. And now that I have a 2-year-old, I am a lot more conscious of how expensive kids are. So we have over 500 families a month that come through the clothing bank.
Wow.
On our youth side, we feed students and their families over school breaks and also throughout the year. Most of the time when you see free and reduced lunches, that will usually go and feed the family. So we want to make sure the whole family is fed. We also do, of course, our Adopt a Child and our youth programs to help, like backpacks back to school, all those basic supplies that add up to so much money, I'm realizing now.
It is quite a bit having an 18. I have an 18-year-old. I've gone through it all.
Yeah.
It can be rather expensive.
And then on the senior side of things, we deliver meals to seniors. 85% of those seniors are homebound. So imagine once you get to retirement and you don't have anybody to care for you and you can't go to get your food. We fill that need, and we've been able to continue that even through the pandemic through a partnership with Stay Naked Kitchen. We're so grateful for.
I love them.
Yep. Local, firefighter owned. Big shout out. Thank you.
Yes.
And then, of course, we also have resources and referrals. When you come to Impact, if you are in need of help, say healthcare, a referral, we are able to give that and speed up the process because of our location. We serve over 52 zip codes. We need to be able to have people come in and not have to go 10 other places, 10 other agencies, call this and that. So we try to be that one stop where they can come in, get everything they need, and feel that they are confident to move on a path forward.
That is phenomenal. So I never knew you guys did all of that until I knew about your food bank and your clothing bank and, a lot of your charity events that you throw to help get everything. But when I started actually digging into what you guys did, I couldn't believe the plethora of things that you do, and how I'm amazed that you guys can actually still do all of that with everything that you're, doing right now. So in doing research, you mentioned business owners. You just mentioned who also lost their jobs during the pandemic. Can you expand on how you're helping those?
Yeah. So one of the big things that we saw, especially during the pandemic, was the stigma of who you think comes into a food bank or an organization like ours. There is this stigma that it is low-income people or people who are lazy, who don't want to go out and get a job and are trying to take advantage of the system, which is just not true. We serve thousands of individuals a year, and right now we are seeing business owners who are keeping their businesses afloat barely by living check to check come in. We are seeing your neighbors, people who lost their jobs, housing, you name it. The pandemic really hit people where it hurt.
Yeah.
70% of people don't have more than 3 months in their savings for emergencies. And that's what I think the pandemic has really shown us, that we are not prepared to live beyond our means. And a lot of those people who found themselves in those situations are finding themselves at Impact's doors, which is where we'd love to have them. We are here to help, but we really want to break down that stigma. Come to us for assistance. We would like for you to stretch your budget and be able to get back up on your feet and back out into the world than to find yourself moving couch to couch and, who knows, on the streets, not being able to get back into, where you would like to move forward.
Exactly. So how many people do you serve at Impact?
So we serve over 3,000 individuals in 2 counties. So our food bank serves Pima and Pinal County. In your mind, if you can draw a line all the way down to South Tucson, Sahuarita, over to Marana, our food bank in Catalina, and then all the way up the Copper Corridor, which is Oracle, Mammoth, San Manuel, Globe, a lot of mining communities, a lot of rural areas where we are the closest agency. So that's just so important. As I mentioned, we have over 500 families a month that come through our clothing bank. And really our big number that we're really proud and support is that we have passed 10,000 people who have walked through the doors of Impact since the inception of it over 20 years ago. So
that is incredible and phenomenal.
And we have clients who have come back who now volunteer. It's great to see it come full circle. And then, of course, we have all those people who come to us because we treat people like people.
Right.
We understand, and we're really here to help.
Excellent. And you mentioned your clothing bank has reopened, which is phenomenal in its own right. I imagine there's a lot of people that really need resources that what you're able to provide right now. How can they find you and local resources, and how do they know if they're going to qualify?
Sure. So I know this is always the scary part. Like, I think I need help, but I don't really want to reach out. And it's so simple. Just like I'd like to reiterate, we are here for anyone who might be struggling, living check to check. So if you're wondering if you qualify or if you have questions, you can go to our website, impactsoaz.org, and just click on the Need Help tab. Eligibility is based on a size of family versus income on a sliding scale. So, for example, a family of 4 with an income below $48,470 a year would be eligible for benefits. And if you're already on food stamps or enrolled in AHCCCS, you're already qualified. So we don't require proof of income if you lose your job, so that would be a qualification. Food, clothing, most of our programs operate at 185% of the federal poverty level, and we have a graph that'll map that all out for you, and it changes each year. All ages are welcome. So we're an agency of the Community Food Bank and Feeding America. So if we're too far in Catalina, and if we know another resource, we will let you know and direct them to you.
And this is so important because so many times people have lost their jobs and they don't know where to go, and they're having that change of life event where they might feel helpless. This is a great tool and resource that you have, and I think even if you think that you may not qualify, reach out. There may be other things that you can help them with, maybe financial planning or budgeting to help them do something like that. Maybe they don't qualify for the food, but you can help them maybe and direct them and give them some referrals and references. So you can always help somebody. And I think that's one of the key takeaways for this right now. There are so many things you guys do. I'm just overwhelmed. How are you able to do it all?
I mean, really, a huge shout out to the Golden Goose. We could not do it without the Golden Goose, especially with all of their support and this last year working to ensure that everyone was safe and getting back going. 100% of our donations go to our programs because of them, so thank you. And then on the second side of that is our volunteers. We could not do it without our volunteers. We have over 165 volunteer shifts a week.
A week?
A week.
Oh, wow.
I know. I never get to the end. People are like, oh, I think a week. So really, we physically couldn't do it without them. The food pickups, the clothing bank, the delivering meals to seniors, running our program, special events. We could not physically do it without them. And then, of course, our corporate partners who make the extras happen, our impact bag sponsors, our financial advisors who pitch in time, like Hughes Federal Credit Union, who has sponsored our Job Resource Center. It takes so many partners and the entire community, and we're grateful for all of that. We really are.
It does. It takes a community to help a community, and I think that is one of the key things that is very important, especially for Impact of Southern Arizona. So I'm thoroughly impressed, and I remember you saying something that you were planning on expanding your food bank. How is that? Like, how are you expanding?
Sure. So this is actually one of the really exciting things that we're moving forward, and we've just started announcing it. So you're one of the first to hear.
Yay! Clap, clap, clap.
So next year, we were able to get a really large grant. We have architectural drawings already drawn up. We're going to be knocking out our food bank all the way to the edge of our property and turning it into a grocery shopping style experience. Oh, wow. If you've ever been to a food bank, you get a bag. You don't get to choose your food. You don't really have that interaction. And it's almost the dignity of being able to go and choose your own food. Yeah. And also, we'll be able to have options. You know, if you've ever seen immigrants or people who come here and walk into a grocery store here, it hits you. I mean, they've never seen that variety of food on a shelf where you can just go and buy it. It brings tears to your eyes. So just imagine being able to come in, shop for your own food. We'll be able to have healthy food because that's expensive. And all the partners who are making that happen. So that's one big piece of it. And then we have a really big piece of career certifications that we're working to actually move people out of poverty in groups and change the landscape of poverty in Southern Arizona.
That is something close to my heart, and I'm super excited. Do you have like a time frame on when this is going to be started and completed?
So the food bank expansion will be launching a capital campaign next year, but the second piece that I just mentioned is actually starting right now. So we're hiring a social worker, a client advocate who will be working with our families to help them identify those challenges that they have to meet their goals and make sure that they get there. They'll also be paired with a community navigator who's a volunteer who will help hold their hand to make sure that they get there. We are really excited to announce a grant that we received that we were being able to partner with Pima Community College on their career certification certificates. So we are going to be able to take a client who's living, in low-income poverty, and when they graduate after 12 weeks, they'll be able to make more than $50,000. They'll be able to have that income, have that help, that one-on-one help, and move forward, not just out of poverty, but into community and having extra time and money and vacations and things that people don't get to think of sometimes.
I am thoroughly excited to see what this change is going to bring, not only to Impact of Southern Arizona, but to our community. I think it's just going to be so helpful to get that influx back in and just make people lift up and do what they really feel like they have something that they can do, I guess, like they're feeling worthwhile. And I think that is huge. Oh, yeah. Huge, huge, huge. So I never knew you did all of that at Impact of Southern Arizona and everything that you did for the community. So it just makes me feel even more proud to have worked with you guys in the past, and I'm definitely going to be continuing working with you in the future. I'm just so amazed at all you can accomplish. If you are just tuning in, you're listening to Connecting Tucson with Jamie, where we focus on connecting our community, local businesses, and organizations to help our community grow and thrive. As your local insurance professional for all your insurance needs, I know how important it is to make a new and lasting connection right in your own community. You never know how a connection will create that spark or pull you in a unique direction. If you are a small business owner or involved in a community project and you would like to be featured on the show, please feel free to give me a call. All of my information is on the Tucson Business Channel. Just click on Connecting Tucson with Jamie. I'd love to hear from you. Right now, we're talking with Diana, the Development Coordinator for Impact of Southern Arizona, and we're talking about just how incredible and life-changing that some of their services can be. The COVID pandemic, however, has changed a lot on how businesses actually do business. What has the last year looked like during a pandemic for Impact, also for your clients?
Looking back, it's been such a whirlwind, and from when it first started, what we thought it might look like to now is very different. But really, we've seen two big changes. One are in our program changes that we just had to make to facilitate and make sure that we could continue to offer everything we could safely. Our food bank became a drive-through food bank overnight, as most did around the country. Our Thanksgiving kit giveaway, which will be happening in a couple of weeks, will also be drive-through. I will say, though, it's optimized it a little, so I kind of like it.
Always streamlined.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Our clothing bank had to be shut down and reopened in stages, but it is now fully reopened and now fully operational. And one of the big changes is we used to have our own commercial kitchen up in our pavilion where we would cook all of our senior meals. And during COVID, we did shut that down and partnered with Stay Naked Kitchen, who has been instrumental in making sure that our seniors have continued to be fed, and they love it, and we love them. And I love their food. It's great. They have some really great gluten-free options too. So that was the one side, our program changes. And then second is that client change side. Seeing people who never thought they would be walking into a nonprofit for assistance coming into us, the business owners who have supported us for so long asking how they can get assistance. And that's why we are making this big announcement and trying to spread the word that there is help out there, and to not think that you don't qualify, that there are more people out there who need it. That's why we are here. That's why we have the money and the dollars. I would say at the end of 2020, our donors rallied and we made $90,000 in donations from individuals and businesses at the end of the year. And in December alone, we distributed over 47,000 pounds of food.
Oh,
so it just goes to show people want to give. And actually, in the pandemic, we had $20 billion more that were given than the previous year. So we are here. We are here to help.
So you got more during the pandemic than you probably expected with everything.
Yes, and we weren't sure there, but at the end of the year, it just definitely rallied. And notoriously, 70% of donations come in the last 3 months of
around the holidays.
Or the holidays, and it's actually the last 3 days of the year are the biggest giving days of the year.
Really? I never knew the last 3 days.
Yep. Taxes.
Learn something new. So you mentioned 165 volunteer hours needed a week, not just a week, 165. If anyone wanted to volunteer, are they able to contact you? And, some people might still be a little, cautious about volunteering. What are you doing to ensure their safety?
Sure. So we definitely are in need of volunteers. If you are able and have access to our location in Catalina, full disclosure, yes, we are by the Burger King up there. It's the most central location to maximize it. So if you are interested in volunteering, our email is volunteer@impactsoaz.org, impactsoaz.org, volunteer@impactsoaz.org. And really just let us know if you're available, even if it's an hour or two, where we can bridge a gap for somebody who might not have been able to come or something that we need. It really makes a difference. If there's one thing the pandemic did change, it was the amount of volunteers that we usually pull in, because we do have a lot of seniors and people who want to be safe and cautious. So we still have all of the precautions in effect for Pima County. We are an agency of Pima County, so we have to follow all of the health and safety requirements, and especially our clothing bank. We have a full decontamination process, let me tell you. So we're making sure not only our volunteers are safe, but our clients, our staff, we want to make sure we all get out of this together.
Absolutely. So if someone doesn't want to volunteer, maybe they just don't feel that that's for them, what are some other ways for them to get involved at Impact and to support our community in general?
Sure. So right now with the holidays, of course, Adopt a Child is our big one right now. We have over 250 children signed up. So if you'd like to adopt a child or a family and buy them presents for the holidays that might go without, that's one of the really good ways that everyone likes to give back right now. If you'd like to donate a frozen turkey, we last year faced a shortage. We had our 300 turkey order canceled the week before Thanksgiving. Oh, no. We have a whole video. If you'd like to see it, I'll drop the link in there for you. But we're trying to get ahead of that this year. So if you're able to buy a frozen turkey or 2 or 3 or 5 and donate them to our food bank, we would be very appreciative. We have 300 Thanksgiving kit giveaways we give out. That's the turkey, the sides, the stuffing, all the bread, and we usually give out a little something extra too. So we have that going on. We sell See's candy for the holidays if you want to ship chocolate off to anywhere in the U.S.
Oh, really?
Yes. We've got to just ship it nowadays.
Right.
And then just the final one, of course, if you haven't heard of the Arizona Charitable Tax Credit, we are a member of the Arizona Charitable Tax Coalition. And that's if you donate $400 or $800 if you're filed married. You can get that back dollar for dollar on your state taxes. So if you're, instead of paying the tax man, you can get that back and give back to a local organization. Of course, talk to your local tax professional. But for tax credits, we'll sponsor one of those career certifications that I was mentioning. So you can actually sponsor somebody to go through a high-paying career and a client and stuff like that. So
that's phenomenal. That tax credit is huge, and I always tell my clients about it. So not only do they get that back, they're helping somebody. So in my case, it's a win-win-win, and I always try to make sure people maximize that. So very, very good cause. You have a large event coming up in the spring of 2022. Can you tell us about it, and why is it so special?
Sure. So I'm going all out. I'm going big. We're going local. We're going to do an Impact Expo in 2022. So save the date, Tuesday, March 1st. Imagine an expo. It's at the Tucson Chinese Cultural Center. Please support local. It's an amazing venue. We'll have over 50 local companies, resources. We'll have mini workshops. There's a dance room. We'll have center stage studios teaching a dance class every half hour. We'll have our relaxation pavilion with chair massages and an on-site chiropractor. And more importantly, though, this is an expo for a cause. I wanted this to be just something extraordinary. And what we're trying to do is have a community conversation on just getting by in a getting ahead world where we're actually lifting up our entire community together. So we're bringing in a national speaker from the AHA process where we really hope to bring people in and have them walk out thinking, wow, what just happened to me? I need to go change the world.
Excellent. So what is the AHA project? I've never heard of that. Sorry.
Yes. So the AHA process it's a movement, and you can go on their website. I believe it's ahaprocess.org. It's by Dr. Ruby Bridges. She wrote a book, and it's basically a Bridges community supports everybody from the bottom up. So you meet with your first responders, you meet with your community members, and you tell them what people in poverty actually live like. People who don't think opportunities are even available to them do not plan for the future how we do. Our basic infrastructure is built to support in a certain way, and our poverty levels have gotten worse in these last years. So at the work we're doing at Impact, why we changed our mission statement and everything we're doing, we recognize that, and we want to be that change. So we are trying to have that conversation with everybody. And then it also happens on the client level where we meet with our clients and tell them you are worth it. We have resources for you. You can go and get this career certification. You can make a job over $50,000 a year in less than 6 months. We will help you do that. And it's just, we have to support our community on a base level, and that's what this is going to do. And it's the beginning of a much larger conversation, and I'm hoping that everybody listening and everybody who will be there, we are going to do this together because nobody else is going to do it for us.
Exactly. So you mentioned the expo and you're having businesses come in. Are you targeting specific businesses? Can anybody join this expo? How do they do that?
Sure. So attendees will be able to sign up online. The tickets will go live December 1st. Our exhibitor tables are limited. They're already half filled. If you would like to be involved, you can reach out to me. My email will be provided, diana@impactsoaz.org. I am keeping it very industry specific. I want you to walk in and get a really large array of things. For example, TEP is powering this up with a very great sponsorship because they see sustainability. They know the future. They know that what we need to reinvest into our community, which they do daily, and we appreciate you, TEP. But also they got utility assistance where they'll be able to help clients who have back paid and also into the future on utility bills. Anybody who's ever owed knows that just paying off the past due amount is the first hurdle. Right. How do you continue to make it forward? So a huge shout out to TEP and all they're doing. And so we'll have a lot of different people who are involved. Phenomenal.
So I know you do quite a bit, but I just want to ask, what makes Impact of Southern Arizona so unique?
That's always the hard part because we do what a lot of people think a lot of organizations do, but there is only one of impact. There's a lot of food banks out there, and we are all sister agencies. We all collaborate. I'd love to emphasize that. We all work together. And there's a lot of clothing banks out there. There's a lot of separated services, but we really are working to be that one stop where we are moving people forward. And that's what we were trying to do with this tagline of together we are taking people from surviving to thriving. We aren't happy with just making an impact. We are trying to make a movement happen. And that's what we're working on doing with these career certifications, with this client advocate, where we are actually giving that additional help. Because, I'll be honest, I need somebody to help me just keep on track from my daily life. And that's what we need to do. We need to be supporting each other. So I'm very blessed to live at Impact and call it my home. And I wish everybody could see the work we do. Every day I come out of my office, I go, whoa, what's going on? There's a bunch of stuff in the hallway. Oh, we adopted a single moms group. Oh, okay. So, we just do. And that's what I love about it.
Phenomenal. What is your message to our community members and people who need help moving forward right now who may be listening?
So as things have been, reopening, closing, reopening, regardless of how you think of vaccinations coming, going, if you could see my air quotes, there's just so many emotions going on. There's a lot of anger. There's sadness. There's confusion, happiness. There's loss. There's just so many things happening. This year has been different for everyone. Some have lost more than others. Some have lost all, really. Mm-hmm. And I would just really encourage each and every one of you listening to give a little grace to everyone around you, and to most especially yourself. We are not coming back to the world that we left in March of 2020, when people were like, oh, when the pandemic is over. And if there's one thing that we preach at Impact, it's to treat others with kindness as you would your own family, you would like yourself to be treated. So my message would be that we need to build each other up, because together we really can give that hope to others.
Exactly. And I think one of the hardest things that you mentioned was to give that grace to yourself.
Yeah.
So many people find that's hard to do. I do myself. I am so okay with giving everybody what they need, but sometimes taking that time for yourself, you need that. Mm-hmm. You need to rest. You need to recharge. And I think that's where to self-reflect and say, you know what, I might need a little help. It's okay. Mm-hmm. There should be no stigma to ask for help, because everyone's going to need help at some point in their lives. And I love the fact that you do not judge, you do not, put any type of, preconceived notion on people that are coming in, because there are different classes and people, business owners that need it more than ever right now. And I love, love, love that. And now you know what I love about Impact. What do you love best about what you do, Diana?
I think it's really getting to represent an organization that does so much. I really take no credit whatsoever. Our staff that I get to work with on a daily basis give me faith that there are people out there really making that difference. And honestly, seeing the work that we do and the clients that come in keeps me level-headed and will always keep me grounded with my own 2-year-old. And just like you said, giving grace to myself is the hardest thing. And so we all have to support each other. And so I'm so grateful to be at Impact in all we do.
Excellent. Now, you mentioned the expo, and you do other large networking, I guess, events. What are some of the large networking events that you've done and that are coming up besides the expo?
Sure. So we usually put on our Women of Impact Luncheon in the spring, and we pivoted that into the Impact Expo for COVID purposes, if you would. We usually do a really large fall festival. We are kind of just in a holding pattern with everything coming up. So we are, of course, part of a lot of organization, Tucson Business Networking. We're part of BNI, of course, Abundant Referrals. Shout out to Chrissy and all of her support. And so we are just part of an entire network of our own network. And events are a little, I'm dodging your question purposely. I'm not sure where we're going to go with events in 2022 just because of the landscape of it. But
yeah, absolutely. I just remember you guys used to have an awesome golf tournament. I don't know if that's something that's coming up. But
no,
I know
we did move away from that last year.
I know you did. That's okay. I just remember there's some other things that you did. And I know that you have your events on your website, and those links will be posted up on my social media link as well as everything else. It is that time of the year. We are in the holiday season, and I know that there's certain things that you may need more than others. What are some items that maybe some of our listeners, if you're needing more than something, that we could help you and rally around?
Sure. So the frozen turkeys are definitely one of the big things we're asking for right now. In our clothing bank, as winter comes up, blankets, socks, brand new underwear are definitely things that we always need. Children's clothes. We are very grateful that we are very supported, but if you have any of those things, and then, of course, Arizona Charitable Tax Coalition credits if you have some extra dollars that you'd like to build up on your taxes. And as we come up into the new year, if you would like to be a community navigator, or if you would like to be that mentor for somebody and help them stay on that path, if that's something you're passionate about, we would love to talk to you. We are going to need a lot of people to make this happen. So we're just so grateful for everything we receive.
Excellent. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what that community navigator technically does or will be expected to do?
Sure. So we are actually going to be training with the speakers who come down from the AHA process. So in March, they'll actually get one-on-one training with these nationally renowned facilitators. Her name's Treasure. We're going to download basically a mental readjustment of how you think of the people you'll be working with to really get into their shoes. And it can get emotional. It can really make you self-evaluate and look at a lot of things you do. So you'll be able to work one-on-one with people. Right now, we're thinking the commitment will be once a week, checking in with them, texting them, communicating. We'll have a social worker, that client advocate, who is keeping track of the spreadsheet, if you will. So it's more keeping that relationship, keeping that hope going, and really telling them you can do it, being a cheerleader, being in their corner. And I think that's what I'm most excited about, to really show these people the opportunities that they have. And when you see opportunity, you can just see, the world is your oyster. And I'm just so excited for them.
Absolutely. Well, we're heading to the end of the program, and I want to make sure that we've covered everything that, Impact of Southern Arizona does. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that the listeners know? Something that we maybe have forgotten throughout the questions?
I think just in general, we are here to help. That's our big message. Together we give hope, but it takes an entire community to do that. So however you'd like to get involved, and I will say this on the nonprofit front in general, if you can share a post on Facebook, if you can just share the message of something or a resource to somebody who you hear. Just today, somebody had their gas can open on the street, and I was like, hey, your gas can's open. Just be kind to others. And it all comes back. But at Impact, we have just seen a big shift, and that's why I just encourage you to be kind, to think of others. And we have people who partner with us, small businesses, all the way up to corporations, to make this happen. So just know you are not alone, and that we are here together to make it happen.
Excellent. From surviving to thriving, together we make this work. That's how that works. I want to thank you so much for coming on Connecting Tucson and sharing a little bit about impact in Southern Arizona. Hopefully we've given some people in our community hope. They know that they have a place where they can go. If you liked the show or you would like to connect with Impact of Southern Arizona, you can call 520-825-0009 or go to the Tucson Business Channel and click on Connecting Tucson with Jamie. You will find all of their social media links there, the website information, email. You can absolutely click right on there and head right to their site. Connecting Tucson with Jamie is here to help. And if you have any questions and you can't reach them, you can always reach out to me personally at my insurance number, which is 520-293-2900. Remember, Tucson, be kind. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Make that new connection. You never know where it's going to lead. And until next time, this is Jamie Overturf with Farmers Insurance. Keep on making unique connections, Tucson.